Holy hot dog, I know we're all thrilled about example 8, which is basically the same thing as example 7. We will have a slight different factoring technique, but you guys have already learned all the factoring techniques, so that should not hold you back. So if you think you fully understood example 7, go ahead and pause the video and try example 8 and see if you can get to the right answer. Okay, so let's look back to our steps. The first step is to factor the numerator and denominator. And remember, the first term must be positive. So, our first terms are both positive. Yay! Okay, so all we do now is factor the numerator and the denominator, which, looking here, the denominator is already a degree 1. The highest exponent is 1. So I don't need to factor that. So that one's done. I just need to worry about factoring the numerator. Okay, so I have two terms and I'm subtracting. So let's think about what factoring technique I could use. Okay, the only factoring techniques with two terms and subtracting are difference of squares and cubes. But I cannot cube root these terms. I can't cube root of 4. I can't cube root of 9, and I can't cube root of x squared. So my only option is a difference of squares, which I can square root 4x squared and 9. Holy hot dog. So I'm going to be using a difference of squares on my numerator. So difference of squares. I'm going to abbreviate it. Okay, so let's do our difference of squares factoring over here. Difference of squares. Bam. Alright, so difference of squares says if you have two squares that are subtracting, after you find the a and the c, all you gotta do is add them and subtract them. Then you're done. Okay, so my a we find by square rooting our first term, which is 4x squared. And our c we find by square rooting the last term, but ignore the negative. So this will be a 9. Alright, the square root of 4 is 2, and the square root of x squared is x. The square root of 9 is 3. So now all I have to do is add my a and c and subtract. So this will be 2x minus 3 and 2x plus 3. Yay! That's it for the numerator. So we have factored the numerator, which I'm going to write that down here. So my numerator is now going to be 2x minus 3 times 2x plus 3 over 2x plus 3 equals 5. Okay, now I know you guys are super excited to start factoring this. Ignore all this, you guys. That's the previous problem. But before we do that, we must determine where the rational expression is undefined. Where can we what can never go in the denominator of a fraction? You guys are correct. 0 is never allowed in the denominator of a fraction, or else our kittens die. And we don't kill kittens in this class. Never, ever, ever. So we must prevent the denominator from ever going to 0. So we're going to say that 2x plus 3 cannot equal 0. So this is my undefined part. Figure out where this thing's undefined. Okay, it is undefined. 2x plus 3 can never equal 0 or cat will die. So we're going to prevent it right now. Okay, so I need to solve this thing for x. So the way that I bring my 3 to the other side, it's a positive 3, so I'm going to subtract that thing. Which 3 minus 3 cancels out and turns to 0. So I'm left with 2x equals negative 3, because 0 minus 3 is negative 3. And then how I move my 2 to the other side, since it's secretly multiplying, I'm going to divide 2 on both sides. And the 2's cancel out and turn to 1 here. So I'm left with x. And hold on. Oh no. I have to put a cross through it. It can't equal it. Sorry, guys. X can never, ever, ever equal negative 3 halves, or a kitten will die. And we're not going to do that. Okay, so we have to keep that in mind. If we get an answer that is negative 3 halves, we must cross it out and call it extraneous so we will not kill a kitten. Okay, so now our next step says divide out any like terms in the numerator and denominator and solve for x. So do we see anything that's alike in the numerator and the denominator? I see one. Do you guys see those 2x plus 3's? Bam! Annihilated. Yeah, so all that's left now is my 2x minus 3 equals 5. And let's solve this thing for x. Okay, so I'm going to bring my 3 to the other side. It's a negative 3. So to bring it to the other side, I'm going to add 3. Which negative 3 plus 3 cancels out and turns to 0. And 5 plus 3 is 8. So currently what I'm left with is 2x equals 8. To bring 2 to the other side, I'm going to divide that thing on both sides. Which 2 divided by 2 cancels out and turns to 1. And 8 divided by 2 is 4. So my answer is 4. And before I finalize this, be careful, you must check back here. I got 4, which is definitely not negative 3/2, so we're good to go. Yay! So my answer is x equals 4. Yay, we got an answer this time. That was awesome, you guys. I hope you had as much fun as I had. I think I had a little too much fun, if I'm going to be honest.